Alrighty, looks like here we go again. Who needs nice terrain when you have crushing property? Well, that's the whole part of terrain, is to make it out of stuff that you have, isn't it? I mean, anybody can go out and buy it. Kind of takes the fun out of it. You think? So I'm glad that we got to start on such a do a lot of heavy lifting. Yes, yeah, no, that's good stuff. I try to. I used to be real big about going to garage sales, buying up all the old kids' toys and everything. That there was, I, I, I cringe at all the GI Joe stuff that's worth money now that I got up back in the day. Oh, not to mention all the styrofoam inserts and everything that you can get out of kinds of packaging, all kinds of stuff that you think the more unique you can get, the better. Well, so tonight I am back working on uh, the centerpiece of the desert board that I'm working on. This is going to be a calf hanger, and um, I spent a little time today on the computer padding out the piece that's going to go in here in the center. This is going to have an insert in it in the pyramid. Going to sit on top of it. But I've got to get this part painted. Um, so I got the the base tan put down on it. I went in with the dark brown again and did all my sides and my rock and everything like that, and then gave it a big dark wash. So that's where we're at right now. So it's time to start dry brushing this month. Lots of to do here on it, but nothing that a nice big brush won't help. Try to keep as much of this on camera as I can. This is off. Darn close. Shape for all right, so we got our mid-tone here. Now we're gonna have to start kind of use this on the sides and the rock here a little bit. And I've got a nice big one that I'll try to do the tops with. You're hurrying paint on my brush sometimes. Kind of like to dab sides more, just because it gives it a little more texture look to it on this part. Well, thank you, Mirror Dude. I think it means we can put another emote. Did you see that I got our first emote put up? There it is. Where's the internet? I've got the keyboard. So, yeah, no, we got our, it may not show up as good on the dark board if that's what you want a little dictator action. There you go. Hopefully, as we get more subscription people and points, we can add more to it. Yeah, especially 10 millimeter scale. I was kind of in the same boat for a long time. Of course, starting out playing Battletech for so long, which is tentatively 6 millimeter. When I switched over to 10 millimeter, it was all kind of nice. I got kind of used to building uh, for that scale, which is a weird way to play because we've had to, you've got board scale and then you've got miniature scale. So I built everything to kind of an in between. We use 2-inch hexes to have a little more room. So you kind of had to find a middle point. So like I said, switching over to uh, 10 millimeter. Wow. These are the ones I hate when they're big. Lots to lots of space. Kind of going to build it up and work from one edge to the next. Sucks. I'm gonna have to go back and do it for the next color. All over again. Kind of building this up to I was going to start on it earlier, and then I got to thinking, I'm like, I have enough to work on far ahead with this. Be better to work on it and not get done and then finish up, then finish right in the middle of the screen. paintball. Work our way around this color, mid-tones, and then I will use my big brush, pops right quick. It's pretty quick. But you don't get as much control on the sides. See, if you big brush, spread it. I have work. This is such a big piece, it's hard sometimes too. Very good. It's gonna look so much better than the old version of it. I like the old version of it, but it just was, I didn't get as in depth with it as I should have. I didn't have as much character. Right, good word? Character. All right, turn a little bit more here. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to keep as much of it on camera as I can. I'm working. Hello, JS Twitch. How are you tonight? Kind of really knocking this around earlier when I was measuring my pieces, the inside for the where the bay is going to go. Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully I don't have any problems with it, but my plan is I'm building the insert here that'll go into the center out of MDF board, and then I'm going to I built some files for some interior walls, kind of some elevators and stuff like that I'm gonna 3D print and glue those up against the inside walls. That'll give me my bay, and then I'll put in some parking spots, I guess. So hopefully I won't those print. Yeah. Well, I figure the world that it's going to be on is not a, it's, it's an independent world. So it's, I figure they're not going to have these gargantuan hangers. But I figure this one would probably be good for at least 10, maybe 12 cows could go in there. The idea with it, though, too, is it's going to have an elevator, at least the door for it, where in the floor, because there's multiple levels going down, but those you'll just have to imagine. I thought that was a nice, appropriate one to start with. Yeah, I got the email that it had been turned on just right before the show. So cool. I mean, nope. One side is missiles and one side is rockets. Both of them are very small, what I like to call snack packs, uh, so that they're more for trying to get somebody hiding or take out somebody that's already wounded or infantry. He the dictator pretty much lives and dies by his two big guns, two Macs. Hello, Tiger Wraith. How are you doing tonight? Doo, doo, doo. Yeah, yeah, that would be, you'd want to avoid going into a rocket duel with somebody made for rockets. Sure. turn here. Getting around finally. Do it all over again. When you absolutely positively want to send your very best. Here. Wish I was a little further ahead with this. I could use it for my game demo on Saturday. I'm gonna go with the old standby green stuff. I think I'm gonna have enough of this ready to build everything that I want to show off. Here in our little tunnel way. Pink stuff that's left over. I had to cut out a groove on the bottom of this so that when it sits down on the MDF, the MDF doesn't raise it up on the game board. To do a little chopping. Something that's real good for this type of this type of foam for cutting is a hacksaw blade. Sometimes if you go crazy with a hot knife, you end up, if you're trying to be kind of slow with it and trying to be just as careful with it as you can, sometimes it doesn't work out so good. So the hacksaw blade, with it being so fine toothed, you can very slowly kind of carry it across there. So it's really good for cutting this kind of foam when I'm trying to do something kind of intricate. All right, that takes care of the sides. Now we got to come back and do the tops. We're going to go big time. probably the shading of this probably doesn't show up that great on it. It's bringing it quite up a shade. Much easier to do big surfaces with this kind of brush. Now, when I come back and do the light, because I'm just barely going to go on it, I should be able to do the sides with this brush too. Because I don't want to. Spinning around again. Here we go. So what I'm going to end up doing, so I'll get this coat on, then I'm going to come back with the light color and put it on there. And then I'm going to come back in and do some work to kind of change the rock up a little bit more. It's a little less on the brush. I'll go back over it, spread it. So. Oh, I can't be perfect. And then I'll take a kind of my woodland brown and give me some more of this kind of look here. So put some more browns in there. I'll airbrush some dark back in there, some shadows. Go over some of the areas that I got a little too crazy with the light colors. You know, all the good stuff. Knocks off some of the stuff too. You know, this is one of those things you can get as fancy or as simple as you want to get. There is no right or wrong way. Don't go into all that trying to figure out lighting direction or whatever. I just do it all the same, and no matter where it sits, it all looks the same. Another shake here. Lid for me to use. All right, so in the face here. Nice thing about using sand for your base is it gives a great surface for to catch on. Nice thing about desert terrain. Of course, if you're wanting to get really fancy too, you can actually put this down, use some darker browns, some earth colors, and then you can come in and sprinkle your grass and stuff on top of it. It is a much better look, but it is a pain in the do for actually. But it is well worth the look when it's done, I think. Blue stuff. Okay, that gets our midtones on there. For a second here. Everybody's awfully quiet. You know, we had the apocalypse and everybody got taken away, did we? Wasn't looking. Probably not. All right. Nope, cool. No, that's fine. Just every once in a while, just take turns and say, raise your hand. I'm here. You're not talking out into the ether by yourself. All right, so this is our really light color. Kind of a almond white, I guess, or something to that extent. Okay, get back to our. Luckily, when it's this big, usually by the time you get around to it, the rest of it. Okay, so like I said, I think be able to do the sides okay too. So we're paint bottle under to pick. Okay, so as you can see, much lighter, but this really, when it gets the darker brown shining through it, I think it gives it a really nice sandy look. We're just trying to keep it as light and I just want to try to hit highlight rather than trying to change it color. And like I said, when I go back with some dark colors to pull some of it back down, to bring it back to places. And then when it's all done, I'll come back with a little bit of shrubbery, very sparse, but just to give it a little contrast, some green. What do you think? Is that showing through on the camera at all as it lightens up? Maybe too not close enough. If you were sitting here, looks great. Thank you so much. Oh, well, let's see. So I've got this to do, this to finish, and then to finish the mech bay and the pyramid that's going to go on top of it. Most of all the tops of the hills have been built. I'm going to build 2 or 3 bigger pieces for everything to sit on. And then I've got to build the palm tree pieces. And I think that should pretty much get everything done. Then I'll set it up at that point, let everybody look at it and see. Oh, I've got to rebuild the statue center that goes out in the front. It's kind of a and then I've got several desert houses that I've built. Gonna put a little way station on one corner of the board too. That I put those together, and I'm gonna 3D print them out. Got to paint them, so still quite a bit to go. I have 2 problems from the standpoint of I don't have enough time in the week to give it a lot of time. I could get a lot further ahead on it, but then trying to work on it for the stream and not get too far ahead so that people can see other steps as I go. So it kind of makes it a little different than the way I normally build. Usually in the past with these, I just jumped in and got it done. Too much going on right now for something like that. Usually this is our kind of our quiet time. We're done with shows and everything like that, but with so much stuff getting ready for next year with our new dual cast and such, a lot going on here at CAV HQ. Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna try something different with my trees. I used to would build a base and then set the trees in there, but it made it very hard to use sometimes, especially if you needed to have a model sitting somewhere or whatever. So my intention is, so I made these the bases that'll be the area of the woods, the palm trees in this case, and then I'm cutting out some probably 1.5 inch circles, and I'm gonna mount the trees onto it, and then that circle will sit down on the big base, and that way you can add and subtract and decide how many makes it a light and how many makes it a heavy, and then you'll be able to move them around. as needed. If you got somebody that needs to get to a certain spot, you just move the tree a little bit. And so trying to make them a little more functional than I have in the past. It'll be interesting to see if it works and doesn't look too weird. Okay, I think that kind of gets my stuff kind of done. Check that I'm good. All right, so I think that kind of gave it some nice tones. Now I'm going to do all the big stuff. This actually Adon Prairie. I'm going to use it to just kind of make some spots, some more, change up the tones. Out paint. And then for this, brush. But basically what I'm wanting to do is just come in here and give it some very, very light spaces. I've got here, and you can kind of see it here. But I'll do that first. Then we can work on some dark. Definitely want to try to get more on the rocks and stuff here. Change them up a bit more. But this is just super, super light. Like I said, if you've ever seen kind of gold ore kind of rock, gives it kind of that. Darker here. Because I don't want it to be as like of here. There we go. Work our way around here with the two colors and come up. Now I've got some areas kind of here around the top that are, because this was originally grassed. Get back over it. So some of the grass, turf or block, kind of was hanging over the edges in places. So it's a smaller, bit of a smaller texture. If we can put a little, I want a whole bunch because it would be, you got to kind of, this goes back to talking about scale earlier. You know, if you get, you know, at this scale, you know, you would not be able to see blades of grass or what necessarily. So, but kind of put a little in there just to, again, the more colors you can work in there, the better you're going to be. Just like I said, it just looks so much better. Getting some of that in there. So kind of some of these places where I've got a little of the old flock showing through on the sides, you know, put it in a little bit just to bit of tones. The light may wash that out. Is here. Go in the direction that I want it to go. Well, I'm coming back in with the wash afterwards. Then I'm gonna spray out of my airbrush a little bit in places to bring the darks back in it. First, you got to remember, I mean, you know, this is out in the desert. It's going to be real bright, blinding so. But I like to come in, especially around the edges of some of these rocks, put a little more shadow back in. And again, I think that the light's washing it out more so for you guys than what it actually is. Not got some good graduation to it. All right. Wait on. Got a little heavy-handed. But I like taking that stain, that dark stain I've got, and just kind of easing it out of the airbrush real with pressure turned way down. Really, really goes along. Make some shadows. Spread shit at it. So then turning. Don Perry down. It's just hints, tinting, subtle. So uniform. And it's just random spots. I think it, and you can go overboard. Kind of try to every once in a while have a little stronger spot or something. Probably going to run over a little bit tonight. I want to try to go ahead and get this up. Out of the way, and hopefully over the, I'm going to try to get all the pieces put cut up and ready for the hanger. Way we can work on that. Lots of grays. Printed that I did. Take all the time you want. Huh? Hopefully you guys will join us tomorrow night for our CAVHQ Live. I'm going to talk about some optional rules, maybe future changes down the road that I want to discuss with everybody and kind of get some feedback and explain my reason for why. I find that to be kind of funny. But it should make for an interesting bit of chat tomorrow. Across the start line. Oh well, it'll be good. It's more just game mechanic wise. Kind of applies to any the theory anyway behind it. Be able to do that. But don't forget this Saturday I'm going to be playing a game. Be able to see that. Going to start in the morning about 11 o'clock. Go till 2, and then Chris will on and sculpt on the Ryoshi some more. I take a break and then back on the ball and 4 o'clock and finish us out. Yeah, it's going to be kind of weird playing myself, but more just to show how things work. It's going to be a Terran squad versus a Rock squad, just our beginner squads. They're real good to show all the different mechanics, a little bit of everything there. Should be fun. I may or may not drink margaritas as we go. We'll see. Get kind of really weird. Nope, nope, it's just gonna be me. That way I just can kind of talk about things and stop and kind of keep everything focused as to where I'm at. And they said it's gonna be just more to show everybody how different things work, how different things interact with. Yeah, like I said, I'm just going to start off on opposite ends of the board. We'll move a little bit and talk about things with that and get them moved in and go for it. All right. It's going to change it. So do the darker stuff. All right. Let's go back and do a little more green here. Have my pokey stick. Go too crazy with the green anyway. Like I said, when I come back and do some of the bushes and stuff like that, that's kind of sticking up. This is more of just kind of going back in some of the areas where the flocking is still showing through, so it's a little finer. Pretty light. Back this way since they're all about textures and it just as smooth as you can because it's just that much more of a edges a little. Really wouldn't be moss, but no, probably not. Just because I don't want to confuse people because they're not anything official right now. My hope is, I mean, that we've got some new people showing up, so I don't want to confuse them. The book says this, but you're doing. The book is more a set of guidelines, like the pirate code. This is the only big piece. To get, it was quick. Then don't forget that the Big Stompy podcast is back Thursday night for its first show. Ross and James will be taking us through their stuff that they have got together for the game. Who knows what else pop up? Not just you never know what the well, that's true. Just make up the rules as like many people have accused me of that. Some of my rules are very situational. All righty. I think that got me going where I wanted to be. All right, so there is basically hill. The last step will be, I said, I'm going to take my brown stain and airbrush some dark spots into it, some shadows, and then I will seal it. I just sprayed Krylon matte on it, and then go back with some Desert Tufts. Put those, and then we should be good to go. Come on. All right. So I think that's going to do it. I didn't think that I would get. That's a surprise. Charge. So you can see by the models there, it's a pretty good size. So for next week, I will have the bay insert in there, and it'll fill in here, and then it's got a door and everything that comes out of the. So I'll paint on that. I may have some of the stuff ready for the pyramid. gonna go on here. Redoing the old one that I had. So alrighty. So that's gonna do it. Anybody have any questions or anything before I shut her off for tonight? Yet again, sure you join us tomorrow night for CAV HQ Live with me and James. I'll be talking about theme and rules. Saving them for tomorrow. Well, you're a special case. Anyway, good night, guys. Be safe. It's Taco Tuesday, so I'm gonna get home and